Hello friends, welcome to another video. I thought I would give you some updates on the stuff that's happening over here. First of all, I started teaching a cybersecurity class in college, which is taking up quite some time, but it also means that I will be making some videos on the subject not too long to teach infrastructure and software security. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. Besides that, there's quite some updates on the development environment we're using for the live coding sessions, or have been using for the live coding sessions. So if you don't know, we've been using Emacs, Closure Mode, Cider, clj-refactor, all those type of tools, and there's quite some updates on those. Most importantly, very exciting actually, is that there was actually a security vulnerability in Emacs, which was patched on September 11th. And I thought, well, that's interesting. How often does that happen, right? And I looked back in the vulnerability database, and actually it's the first actual vulnerability since 2014. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. The guys quickly pushed out a fix for it. The release itself, some say it was a little bit sloppy because it was released before there was a Git push. I say, well, kudos to those guys to actually make a patch so quickly after finding it. But I was curious, how does it work, right? And the problem they note is within the enriched text mode. When it is decoding the X display property. So how does that work, and what could you do with it? I actually created a text file which has the content type of text enriched and has some data in it, but has this property, and there's actually some Lisp code right here. And if you don't know, Lisp is very, very similar to Clojure, as they're both Lisp variants. So the vulnerability is that this code will be evaluated no matter what. So you could put anything in here that will attack your system. So how does a user see this? If we open up this document in our editor, you will see that you'll see that it has the text test from right here, but it also started printing out hello world, which is this message right here, which is just evaluated as it goes along. So that's really bad. And why is this really bad? Because a major component, GNUs, which is used for news reading, actually use this by default. So an attacker can send a malformed message or a crafted message and have it evaluated, whoever uses Emacs using the newsreader. So they patched it quite quickly, and you should update as soon as possible, especially if you use GNUs. And they have this quick fix in case you you're not able to upgrade immediately. Make sure you apply that, and then you'll be safe again. So that was quite exciting. There's actually a seklist mailing list item for it as well, with some details and a patch that is actually used to fix it. So in case you're interested, I will post the links below. Yeah, so that's Emacs. Make sure you update, and we're all safe again. The second type of news thingy is the guy behind Magit. I call it Magic because Maggot sounds really bad. Magit is actually having a crowdfunding effort to see if he can work on Magit full-time for a year. If you use Magit, be sure to support him. It's like buying a guy a beer or a couple of beers or coffee if you want, for all his hard work. I think it's a wonderful package. It is so intertwined with my workflow, so I supported you, and I'm giving you a shout out right here. I hope if you watch this, you will, yeah, give it a look over. The next point, let me take a look at my notes, is actually back in July. Bug, I'll call him bug, pushed out Cider 0.15, totally in line with all other Cider releases. It was done on a conference in London this time. And he has about, I counted them, there are 30 new features. So I have to go through them all still. But things like making stack trace clickable, highlighting stuff, being able to browse specs, which is really useful, and yeah, a bunch of other things. Some other changes he made, especially dropping support for older Emacs versions, those type of things, and a list of bug fixes, which is awesome. I love Cider. It works like a charm. So I'm happy with this change. New features are always good. And the other project that we use a lot is clj-refactor. It had a somewhat silent release as well. There's some changes in it. Most notably, there's key bindings which are now no longer used by clj-refactor, but they're actually in closure mode now. So the cycling of privacy if and collection types is done there. But very interestingly, a new feature was added, is that when you create a test case or test file, it will take the corresponding namespace and create it as a SUT reference. But you might not want to call it SUT, system under test, or you might call it original or O or whatever. And now you can modify those. You can customize the naming that they use, which is really useful. The other useful thing is that does it say it? The closure script. It is now also possible, require custom test framework for ClojureScript test files. So if you have something that is not ClojureScript test, you can actually add it to the ClojureScript closure test declaration variable, and it will add it to every test case that you create in ClojureScript. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom. And that is a very good change. On the changes part, that is a wrap basically. Those are the tools that were used. They were updated. They have new features. That's very good, very nice. They work like a charm. I've been using them for a couple of weeks now altogether, and there's no problems. So make sure that you're updated, and then you have these nice new features. As for the live coding sessions, they're kind of hard to do with classes, with personal live going in. So I'm actually trying to look at a new way of having those coding sessions, but still providing some value. I am actually working on a project which is not related to the live coding sessions, but which covers a lot of those type of features that we're actually using, like the ClojureScript and Clojure backend integration, having multiple components around it. So I'm figuring out if I can take that project and transport it somehow to the live coding area. So stay tuned for that. Next videos will probably be more centered around cybersecurity, the type of issues that you can get when you have faulty programming or lack of defensive programming, really. So those will be very interesting. So yeah, stick around for those. If you have not done so, click the subscribe button somewhere below here. You will be notified when there's a new video. And if you have not done so, click the like button. It is a very good way to show that you like these videos. So thank you for watching. See you again next time. Have a good day. Bye bye.